The Sign of Four by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Chapter 1. The Science of Deduction.
It was afternoon. Holmes and I were sitting in our living room in 221B Baker Street, relaxing after our lunch.
"I hate to be bored,"
said Holmes suddenly. I looked over at him. "Are you bored now?" I asked. I myself was feeling rather content.
"Yes,"
he replied.
"I need something to occupy my mind. That's why I have chosen my particular profession, or rather, created it, as I'm the only one in the world."
"The only unofficial detective?" I asked.
"The only unofficial consulting detective,"
he corrected me.
"When Gregson or Lestrade or Athelney Jones don't know what to do, which they normally don't, then they come to me. I give them an expert opinion. I take no credit for it. It's the work itself which gives me pleasure. But there is no work at the moment, so I am bored."
I had some experience of Holmes's work in the Jefferson Hope case. I had written a small book about the case, calling it A Study in Scarlet. Sherlock Holmes did not like it. He said it was too romantic.
"My name has also extended to the continent,"
continued Holmes.
"I was consulted last week by a French detective. He had 2 out of the 3 qualities necessary for a good detective. He has the power of observation and of deduction. He doesn't have knowledge, but that will come with experience."
"But aren't observation and deduction the same thing?" I asked.
"Oh, no,"
he answered.
"For example, observation tells me that you have been to the Wigmore Street post office this morning, but deduction tells me that when you were there, you sent a telegram."
"You're right!" I exclaimed. "But how did you know?"
"It's quite simple,"
he laughed.
"I can observe that you have some red-coloured earth on your shoe. That's observation. Just opposite the Wigmore Street post office, they are digging up the road. The earth they have dug up is the same colour, which can't be found anywhere else in the area. That is deduction."
"And what about the telegram?"
"I knew you hadn't written a letter, because I was with you all morning. I also saw that you already have stamps and envelopes. So that only leaves one reason to go to the post office: to send a telegram."
"How simple," I replied. "Can you put your skills to a more difficult test?"
"Of course,"
said Holmes.
"What is it?"
I gave him a watch that I had had for only a short time. "What can you tell me about the character or habits of the late owner of this watch?" I asked. Secretly, I wanted him to get it wrong. Sometimes his know-it-all tone became annoying. He looked at the watch for some time, opening the back and examining it carefully. He handed it back to me.
"It has recently been cleaned,"
he said,
"which has taken away many clues."
"You're right," I said. I did not think this was a very good excuse.
"But I can say," he continued, "that this watch belonged to your elder brother, who inherited it from your father."
"Ah, the initials H.W. on the back. Right so far. Anything else?" I asked.
"Your brother was an untidy man and very careless. He was poor for a lot of the time, with occasional times when he had money. He finally began drinking heavily, and he died. That's all I can tell."
I felt disappointed and angry. How could he tell all that from a watch? It was all true, but I was sure that he had found out about my poor, unhappy brother from other people. "You're very unkind," I said to him. "Don't pretend to deduce what you have been told by others."
"Dear Dr. Watson, I'm sorry,"
he said.
"I forgot how personal and upsetting it might be to you. But I promise that I didn't even know you had a brother until you gave me that watch."
"Then how did you know these facts? You were right about everything." Holmes told me.
In England, when pawnbrokers take a watch, they scratch the number of the ticket on the watch with a pin. I noticed that there were 4 small numbers scratched onto the back of the watch. This means that your brother often didn't have much money, so he took the watch to a pawnbroker's 4 times. But then he also often had enough money to buy it back. Also, if you look at where you wind up the watch, you'll see many little scratches. This is where the key for winding it up has slipped. It slipped because he was often drunk when he went to bed and was trying to wind up his watch.
There was a knock at the door.
"There's a young lady to see you, sir,"
Said our landlady.
"a Miss Mary Morstan."
Said Holmes.
I don't know the name. Show her in. You stay as well, Doctor.
Miss Morstan entered the room. She was a young, attractive lady with blonde hair and large blue eyes. She seemed agitated.
"I've come to ask for your help, Mr. Holmes,"
She said.
"because you once helped my employer, Mrs. Cecil Forrester, with a small problem. She recommended you."
Yes, I think I remember.
Said Holmes.
A very simple case.
"She didn't think so. But you can't say the same about my case. Let me tell you about my strange situation."
Sherlock Holmes looked excited.
Tell me all about it.
He said.
Chapter 2. A New Case.
I got up to leave, but the young lady stopped me.
"You may also be able to help me."
She said. I sat down again.
"These are the facts."
She continued.
My father was an officer in an Indian regiment. My mother was dead, so I went to boarding school in Edinburgh until I was 17. In the year 1878, my father had a year's leave from the military and he came home. He wrote to me and told me to meet him in London at the Langham Hotel. When I arrived, they told me that he was staying there but had gone out the night before and hadn't returned. I waited all day, but there was no news. Eventually, I contacted the police. But from that day to this, nothing has been heard of my father.
The poor girl was trying not to cry.
What was the date?
Asked Holmes.
He disappeared on the 3rd of December, 1878, nearly 10 years ago.
Did he have any bags?
Yes, but there was nothing in them that gave any clue about what had happened. Clothes, books, some things from the Andaman Islands. That was where he was based.
She explained.
Did he have any friends in town?
Asked Holmes.
Only one,
She replied.
Major Sholto, who was in the same regiment as my father. He was retired and lived in Upper Norwood. He didn't even know that my father was in England.
She continued.
About 6 years ago, on the 4th of May, 1882, I saw an advertisement in the Times newspaper asking for the address of Miss Mary Morstan. It said that she would receive good news if she communicated her address. So I put it in the newspaper. The next day, a small box was brought to my house. Inside, there was a very large and beautiful pearl. There was nothing else. No message, no address, nothing. Since then, on the same date every year, another box has arrived, each containing another pearl.
She opened a small box as she was speaking. Inside were 6 beautiful pearls.
Most interesting,
Said Holmes.
Has anything else happened?
Yes, today. That's why I've come to see you. This morning I received this letter.
She gave the letter to Holmes for him to read.
Be outside the Lyceum Theatre tonight at 7 o'clock,
He read.
If you feel safer, bring 2 friends. You deserve justice and you shall have it. Do not bring the police, your unknown friend. Well, what a mystery. And what do you want to do, Miss Morstan?
He asked.
That's why I'm here,
she said.
We will go then. You and I, and, yes, Dr. Watson can come too. We have worked together before.
Miss Morstan looked at me.
Will you come, Doctor?
She asked. I'll be happy to, I replied.
You're both very kind,
she said.
I'll be here at 6 then.
One last thing,
said Holmes.
The handwriting in the letter. Is it the same as that on the pearl boxes?
I have them here,
she said, giving them to Holmes. He spread them out on the table and compared them.
Yes,
he said after a moment.
The writer has tried to change his handwriting each time, but they are definitely written by the same person. Is this handwriting anything like your father's, Miss Morstan?
Not at all,
she said.
I thought so,
said Holmes.
We'll see you at 6 then.
Miss Morstan left the room. I looked out of the window and watched her walking away. What an attractive woman! I exclaimed, turning to Holmes.
Is she?
He said.
I didn't notice.
Holmes got up.
I'm going out,
he said.
There are a few things I want to find out.
I sat at the window. I could not stop thinking about Miss Mary Morstan. Her smile, the sound of her voice, and the mystery that was part of her life. If she was 17 when her father disappeared, that must make her 27 now, I thought. A nice age. I sat thinking about her until my thoughts became dangerous. Who was I to hope for such things? A retired and injured army surgeon with little money. No, it was better to forget such thoughts of happiness with Miss Morstan. Holmes returned at 5:30. He seemed very happy.
This isn't such a great mystery,
he said.
There seems to be only one explanation.
What? You've solved it already? I asked.
Oh, no,
he said.
But I have discovered an important fact. I've been looking at old copies of the Times, and I found out that Major Sholto died on the 28th of April, 1882.
And so? I'm sorry. I don't understand, Holmes.
No? You do surprise me. Look at it this way. Captain Morstan disappears. The only person he knows in London is Major Sholto. Major Sholto says he didn't know Morstan was in London. 4 years later, Major Sholto dies. Only a week after his death, Captain Morstan's daughter receives a valuable present, which is repeated every year. Now she gets a letter which says that she deserves justice. What else can it mean except justice for the loss of her father? Why did the presents begin immediately after Sholto's death? It must mean that Sholto's heir knows something about the mystery and wants to compensate Mary Morstan.
But how strange! Why has he written now, and not 6 years ago? And anyway, what justice can she have? You don't really think her father is still alive, do you? What other injustice is there in her case? Sherlock Holmes thought for a moment.
It's true, Watson, there are problems. But I think our journey tonight will solve them all. Are you ready? I think Miss Morstan is downstairs in a cab.
I picked up my hat and my stick. Holmes took a gun from a drawer and put it in his pocket. It seemed that things might get serious. In the cab, Sherlock Holmes asked Miss Morstan some more questions.
Major Sholto was a very good friend of Papa's,
she said.
He and Papa were in charge of the soldiers on the Andaman Islands. They spent a lot of time together. By the way,
she continued,
a strange paper was found in Papa's desk. No one can understand it, but I brought it to show you. Here it is.
Holmes studied the paper carefully.
It was made in India,
he said.
It is a plan of a large building with many rooms and passages. In one place there is a small cross in red ink, and above it is written 3.37 from left. In the left-hand corner is a strange hieroglyph, like 4 crosses in a line with their arms touching. Beside it is written, The Sign of the Four. Jonathan Small, Mahomet Singh, Abdullah Khan, Dost Akbar. Now, I don't know what this is about, but it is obviously an important document, because it has been kept very carefully. It is very clean.
Holmes leaned back. He was thinking hard.
Chapter 3. The Story of the Bald-Headed Man.
We arrived at the Lyceum Theatre. There were already a lot of people outside. We got out of the cab, and a small man came up to us.
"Are you with Miss Morstan?"
He asked us.
I'm Miss Morstan, and these 2 gentlemen are my friends,
She said.
"Can you promise that neither of your friends is a policeman?"
He asked. Miss Morstan promised. The man took us to a cab. We climbed inside, and the man drove the cab. We moved away quickly through the streets. At first I knew where we were going, but I was soon lost. Holmes, of course, knew exactly where we were.
Priory Road, Robert Street, Cold Harbour Lane. Not very nice areas,
He said. Finally, the cab stopped outside a house in a row of other houses. They all looked empty. We knocked at the door, and it was opened by an Indian servant.
He is waiting for you.
He said. We heard another voice from a room further inside.
"Bring them in.
It said.
Bring them straight in."
The servant took us to a door and opened it. In the room was a small man with a bald head. He had a hanging lower lip, which showed a line of irregular yellow teeth. Although he was bald, he did not look old. He was, in fact, 30 years old.
Come in,"
He said. He seemed nervous. The room was very different to the rest of the house and the area. It was brightly coloured and luxurious, in an oriental style.
"My name is Thaddius Sholto,"
The man said.
"You are Miss Morstan, and these gentlemen?"
Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
"So, to begin,
He said.
your father, Miss Morstan, is dead."
She went white, but then said,
I had hoped he was still alive, but I knew in my heart that he wasn't.
Thaddius Sholto continued.
"I can tell you everything, and I can also give you justice, whatever my brother Bartholomew says. We'll have to go to Norwood to see him, but he's very angry with me for doing what I think is right. He can be a terrible person when he's angry."
Let's go as soon as possible, then. It's already late, I said.
"First of all, I must tell you what I know,"
He said.
"My father was Major John Sholto. He retired 11 years ago and came to live at Pondicherry House in Norwood. He was a rich man and brought Indian servants with him and lived in luxury. My twin brother Bartholomew and I were the only children. I remember when Captain Morstan disappeared. We talked about it often with my father. We never suspected that he knew exactly what happened to Captain Morstan. We did know that our father was in some sort of danger, though. He did not go out alone, and he was very scared of men with wooden legs. Once, he even fired his gun at a man with a wooden leg, who was just a salesman trying to sell something. We had to pay him a lot of money to keep the matter quiet. In 1882, he received a letter from India, which was a great shock to him. He never told us what it said, but from that day he became ill, until the doctor told us he was close to death. He wanted to tell us something before he died. When we went in to see him, he looked terrible. He told us to lock the door and come to either side of the bed. This is what he said. I have treated Morstan's daughter terribly. I have been a greedy man. At least half of the treasure belongs to her. See that string of pearls there? That is part of the treasure. I was going to send it to her. You, my sons, I want you to make sure that she gets half of the Agra treasure. But don't send anything until I am dead. I'll tell you how Morstan died, he continued. For many years he had a weak heart, but only I knew about it. When we were in India, by luck, he and I found a large amount of valuable treasure. I brought it over to England. When Morstan arrived in London, he came to claim his share. We argued about how to divide the treasure between us. We were shouting at each other, and he was very angry. Suddenly, he put his hand to his side. His face changed colour, and he fell backwards, hitting his head on the treasure chest. He was dead. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to call the police, because it looked like I had killed him, and I didn't want other people to know about the treasure. I was thinking about it when my servant came to the door. "Don't worry, sir," he said. "I won't tell anyone that you killed him. We'll hide the body, and nobody will know anything." I made a decision. If my own servant thought that I killed him, then the police were certainly not going to believe me. So we hid Morstan's body and the treasure. It is only right that Morstan's daughter gets her share. Come closer, and I'll tell you where it is. The treasure is hidden in... At this moment, his face changed. He looked scared, and he began to shout, "Keep him out! Keep him out!" We looked around at the window behind us where he was staring. There was a face looking in from the darkness. It was a bearded face with wild, cruel eyes and an evil expression. We rushed to the window, but there was no one there. When we returned to our father, his heart had stopped beating. We searched the garden that night, but all we found was a single footprint below the window. We thought we had imagined it, but the next day the window of my father's room was found open. Someone had searched his room, and on his chest was a note with the words, "The Sign of the Four," written on it. We never knew who it was, or what it meant. Nothing was stolen.
He stopped speaking for a moment. Miss Morstan looked white, and she drank the glass of water I gave her. Sherlock Holmes leaned back in his chair. Thaddius continued his story.
My brother and I wanted to find the treasure that our father told us about. We searched everywhere, digging in the garden, looking in every part of the house. But we didn't find it. We knew by the quality of the pearls that the treasure was worth a lot of money. My brother is very like my father. He is also very greedy, and he didn't want to send the pearls to Miss Morstan. But finally I persuaded him to send a pearl once a year to Miss Morstan, so that she had something of value.
"It was very kind of you,"
said Miss Morstan.
"We had to make sure justice was done,"
said Thaddius.
"At least, that's what I thought. Bartholomew didn't agree. That's why I moved out of Pondicherry House."
So why are we here now?
Asked Holmes.
Yesterday, I found out that the treasure has been discovered. I contacted Miss Morstan, and now we must go to Norwood and claim our share of it. I told Bartholomew what I wanted to do, so he'll be expecting us, even if he doesn't want to see us.
You've done well, sir,
said Holmes.
Let's go.
Chapter 4. Murder at Pondicherry House.
The cab was waiting for us. On the journey to Norwood, Thaddius told us how Bartholomew had found out where the treasure was. He had worked out the area of the house and realized that there was a space at the top of the house. He made a hole in the ceiling which led to this space, and there was the treasure chest. He lowered it down through the hole into the room below.
He thinks that the jewels are worth about £500,000,
said Thaddius. We looked at each other. This meant that Miss Morstan was rich. I am ashamed to say that I did not feel so glad. A poor doctor marrying an heiress was definitely out of the question. It was nearly 11 o'clock when the cab stopped and we got out.
This is Pondicherry House, Miss Morstan,
said Thaddius. The house had a lot of land around it, which was all surrounded by a high stone wall. We waited at the gate.
"Who's there?"
asked a voice from inside.
"McMurdo, it's me, Thaddius. Let us in."
The gate opened. McMurdo looked strong.
"Who are these people?"
he asked.
"I can't let them in, sir. I don't know them."
Sherlock Holmes stepped forward.
I think you do, McMurdo. Do you remember that amateur boxer who fought with you a few years back?
"Not Mr. Sherlock Holmes,"
cried McMurdo.
"Of course I remember you. Well, come on in. Sorry, Mr. Thaddius, but I had my orders."
We followed Thaddius up the path to the house.
"There's no light in Bartholomew's room,"
said Thaddius.
"How strange. He knows we're coming."
"There's a light in that window there,"
said Holmes, pointing.
"That's where Mrs. Bernstone, the housekeeper, is,"
said Thaddius.
"I'll go in and speak to her. Wait here a moment."
We saw the door open and heard Mrs. Bernstone crying.
"Oh, Mr. Thaddius, I'm so glad you're here."
We waited outside. Miss Morstan and I stood together. She put her hand in mine. What a wonderful thing love is. We had met only that day, but it seemed so natural to be standing there with her, hand in hand. Suddenly, the door opened, and Thaddius came running out.
"There's something wrong with Bartholomew!"
he cried.
"I'm so scared!"
"Come into the house,"
said Holmes, taking control of the situation. We followed him in.
"Mr. Bartholomew has locked himself in his room and won't answer me,"
the housekeeper explained.
"I went up and looked through the keyhole. You must look for yourselves. I've never seen him look like that before."
Holmes went upstairs. I followed, but Miss Morstan stayed with the frightened housekeeper. We arrived at the door to Bartholomew's room. Holmes knocked. There was no reply. Then he tried to open it, but it was locked from the inside. He bent down to look through the keyhole. He stood up again instantly, looking shocked.
"Have a look, Watson,"
he said.
"What do you think?"
I looked through, then stepped back in horror. In the moonlight, I saw a face, the very same face as Thaddius, with the same bald head. But there was a horrible smile on his face. I turned to make sure Thaddius was still with us. Then I remembered that he and his brother were twins. "This is terrible," I said to Holmes. What do we do?"
"We must break down the door,"
he replied. We broke down the door and went into the room. It looked like a laboratory. There were some large containers. One of them was on its side, and a small stream of dark liquid came from it. It smelt very strong, like tar. In the middle of the room were some steps. Above them was a hole in the ceiling, big enough for a man to get through. At the bottom of the steps was a rope. Bartholomew Sholto was in the chair. He was stiff and cold, and had obviously been dead for many hours. On the table was a note. Holmes picked it up.
"You see?"
he said, giving it to me. It read, "The Sign of the Four." "What does it mean?" I asked him.
"It means murder,"
he said.
"Look here."
He pointed to a long, thin dart stuck in the skin of the dead man, just above his ear.
"Take it out,"
he said to me.
"But be careful. It's poisoned."
I took it out carefully. It was long, sharp, and black. It looked like a thorn, but not from any tree in England. I don't understand. It becomes more complicated at every step. Holmes disagreed.
It becomes clearer every minute. I just need a few missing clues,
he said. We had almost forgotten about Thaddius since we entered the room. Suddenly, he spoke.
"The treasure has gone!"
he cried.
"They've taken the treasure! I helped him to bring it down through that hole last night. I was the last person to see him. I heard him lock the door behind me."
What time was that?
asked Holmes.
"About 10 o'clock. And now he's dead, and the police will think I killed him. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. You do believe me, don't you? I think I'm going mad."
Holmes put his hand on his shoulder.
Don't worry, Mr. Sholto,
he said kindly.
Go to the police station. Say you'll help them in any way you can. We'll wait here for you.